Art is powerful and has been prevalent throughout the course of human history, appearing in every culture and even our mundane day-to-day life. Although we may not always realize it, almost every aspect in life is derived from art in one way or another. I personally have never considered art as simply a subject to be studied or something to be learned, but as a force to be experienced. In this aspect, I feel as if everyone has a unique and personal experience, as well as a unified feeling of collective human experience when viewing various works of art. One of these feelings which have always had an extreme impact on me when viewing art has been the feeling of a fleeting moment. As I explored the Getty, I heavily considered this when deciding on what pieces to talk about. Ultimately, there were two artists whose works both instilled the feeling of a fleeting moment within me, that being Claude Monet and Vincent van Gogh. Claude Monet was renowned for his commitment to depicting natural scenes through plein-air landscape painting. One location which Claude Monet depicted in many of his works was Port Le Havre. In his multiple paintings, Monet was able to capture France's participation in global trade and commerce, as well as the growth of the port over time. One of his depictions of Le Havre, Impression, Sunrise. From this painting, art critic Louis Leroy coined the term Impressionism, referring to the title of the artwork. The term Impressionism was aimed towards belittlement, but this term was later appropriated by Impressionist artists, making the term their own. Sunrise is the artwork by Claude Monet, which I viewed at the Getty, and is one of his many paintings depicting Port Le Havre. This scene captures the imminent dawn of the industrial port, as we see a boat in the foreground with passengers and other boats in the background, which help to create a great sense of distance and depth into the ever-expanding ocean. Overall, the painting has a muted tone, with iridescent blues and greens, as hints of orange of the rising sun peek through and reflect through the water. The spontaneous brushstrokes help to capture the gentle flow of the ocean and help to create a sense of movement. Viewing this painting, I could easily place myself into the scene, as I imagined the calm morning sunrise of Port Le Havre. I could imagine the lives of the people at the time, as they get ready for their busy day at the port, with many people getting ready to depart from the port to deliver their goods, as well as people arriving at the port. The rising sun helps to create a sense of a new beginning, and the calm colors of the painting emphasize a calm, serene feeling of Port Le Havre, fully knowing the port will get busier and louder as the day continues and more boats arrive to and depart from the port. This fleeting moment of the port at its calmest, before the busy and hectic departure and arrival of other boats, overwhelms one with a sense of peace, and reminds me of days when I wake up early in the mornings, and feel how peaceful it is before everyone gets ready for the busy day ahead. The next piece I will be covering is one of perhaps the most famous painters of all time who many have heard of, even if they are not very familiar with art. Vincent van Gogh was born in 1853 and raised in southern Netherlands. He had a desire to help humanity, and this desire eventually led him to becoming a teacher, then a preacher, and eventually a missionary, though he found little success in doing so. During his time as a missionary, working among coal miners in Belgium, Van Gogh had begun to draw seriously. In the year of 1880 he was dismissed by church authorities, which led Van Gogh to find his calling in art. During Van Gogh's time as an artist, he would increasingly become influenced by Japanese prints and the works of French Impressionist artists. Van Gogh would go on to create some of the most famous paintings such as Starry Night, Sunflowers, Self-Portrait, and Irises, which is the piece that I will cover. When talking about Iris, one important thing to consider which greatly impacts the effect and power of the work is the mental health struggles that Van Gogh dealt with throughout his life. He suffered recurring mental breakdowns and mental disturbances, which eventually led him to admit himself to a sanitarium and painted whenever he got the chance, believing it was the only hope for sanity. However, after a year he would move to be closer to his brother, who was his only support, and unfortunately in July of 1890, died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The irises flowers depicted in the painting were in the asylum's garden. The vibrant blue color of the irises contrasts with the rest of painting's greens and browns, immediately drawing the viewer's attention. The placement of the irises in the foreground also helped to draw the viewer's attention, while creating a sense of depth and distance. While the curved lines and shapes of the flower create a subtle sense of movement, as if there was a gentle breeze blowing through the irises causing them to dance harmoniously. Looking at this painting, and considering Van Gogh's battle with mental health, I feel as if it captures a fleeting moment of peace experienced by Van Gogh. As he watched and painted the irises, one can imagine his mind to be at ease and fully immersed by the subtle movements of the irises, which helps to remind one of the everyday beauty of life in the subtlest of things, such as some flowers blowing in the wind. While life may be difficult, and we encounter many mental struggles, it is comforting to know that we can find solace and moments of peace in things as subtle as some flowers blowing in the wind's gentle breeze.